The top stories tonight in Y News. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. urges Filipino scientists and researchers to stay in the country and become active partners of the government in nation building. Suspended Bureau of Corrections Chief Gerald Bantag and Bucor Deputy Security Officer Ricardo Zulueta skipped today's preliminary investigation over the killing of Percy Lapid and June Villamor. The country commemorates the 13th anniversary of the gruesome 2009 Magenta Now Massacre. And Twitter CEO Elon Musk starts recruiting for engineering and sales roles after the recent mass layoff. Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Wednesday, the 23rd of November, 2022. Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the Philippines and in other parts of the world. We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media accounts. I am William Theo. First in the news, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. urged Filipino scientists and researchers to stay in the country and become active partners of the government in nation building. Nel Maribohok reports.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has asked Pinoy scientists to stay in the Philippines and help shape the country's future development, stressing the country's needs their expertise to reach new heights and called on them to be an inspiration for the youth.
I urge you to stay in the country as you pursue your career. We will continue to support you and continue to look to you to be active partners of the government.
At the opening ceremony of the 2022 National Science and Technology Week, the President also promised the Filipino scientists that his administration would strongly support their efforts, giving cash and other resources to assist them in succeeding.
You can rest assured this administration wholeheartedly supports these initiatives, pushing for science and technology, research and development-based solutions to our country's problems, especially in the immediate future in agriculture, but after that, in trade.
The President has asked the Department of Science and Technology, or DOST, and its partner agencies to provide more scholarships to Filipino students so that they can choose science as their major. In addition, the expanding Filipino labor force means more opportunities for skilled Filipinos. PBBM also acknowledged the efforts of the DOST's attached agencies and regional offices for continuously implementing programs that create solutions to address the country's problems on food security, job creation, health education, and climate change adaptation, among others. Nel Maribohok, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Meanwhile, suspended Bureau of Corrections Chief Gerald Bantag and Bucor Deputy Security Officer Ricardo Zulueta did not attend in today's preliminary investigation over the killing of Percy Lapid and June Villamor. Dante Amento tells us why.
The panel of prosecutors has started a preliminary investigation over the murder charges against suspended Bureau of Corrections Director General Gerald Bantag, Bucor Deputy Security Officer Ricardo Zulueta, among others today. Bantag and Zulueta did not appear personally, while the other respondents, who are inmates, attended via online. Bantag's lawyer, Attorney Rocky Balisong, explained they have just received the new subpoena today due to error in the first subpoena given to them.
In effect, wala pang nare-receive na subpoena, so there is no reason for him to appear yet. In other words, wala pang personality to appear kasi hindi pa nasa-serve sa kanyang subpoena.
Bantag and the other respondents have not yet submitted their counter-affidavits.
No submission of counter-affidavits, then we will know whether they will submit counter-affidavits in the next scheduled hearing, December 5, 1 p.m.
Meanwhile, the Lapid family disclosed that they want Bantag to be present in person in the next hearing on December 5, 2022 at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. The National Bureau of Investigation, or NBI, will also be submitting supplemental evidence.
Sabi ko nga, kami hindi nagmamadali. Ang hinahanap po natin dito ay hustisya So alam naman namin sa paghanap ng hustisya, hindi po madaling proseso ito.
Dantiamento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Meanwhile, the Senate has approved on third and final reading the bill containing the proposed 2023 national budget. 21 senators voted in favor with no negative votes and abstentions. Several amendments were approved in the Senate's version, including the realignment of the confidential and intelligence funds of some government agencies. For one, the 150 million peso proposed confidential fund for the Department of Education was slashed to 50 million pesos. The 100 million peso cut was realigned to the Support to Schools and Learners program of the agency. 17 senators will represent the Senate contingent in the bicameral conference, which is set to begin on Friday, November 25. The government does not support the idea of removing the value-added tax on basic goods and fuel products. A group asked this to the government, thinking that it will help them alleviate the impact of high prices of commodities. Ray Pelayo tells us why.
The government's revenue will reduce by around 10.9 billion pesos monthly in 2023 if value-added tax or VAT on fuel alone will be suspended, according to the Finance Department. Secretary Amena Pangandaman of the Budget Department said the proposal of removing VAT on basic commodities and fuel products is not an ideal solution because it will not provide lasting inflation relief and it would adversely affect the government's economic recovery. The Alliance of Concerned Teachers, or ACT, has suggested this idea to alleviate the impact of inflation. The group noted that the value of their monthly salary is reduced by almost 4,000 pesos due to the impact of inflation that reached 7.7% last October.
Sa bawat pagtaas po kasi ng presyo, ay itinataas din po yung taxes, at parang ironically, parang ang pangit naman po tignan na parang habang tumataas po yung presyo ay kumikita yung ating gobyerno, habang dapat sana ay tinutulungan ito yung ating mga pamilyang Pilipino.
But Secretary Pangandaman said there are commodities that are VAT exempted, like those being sold in wet markets. Medicines for diabetes, high blood, cancer, tuberculosis, and other are also not covered by VAT. Senior citizens, persons with disabilities are also VAT exempted. Marikina Representative Stella Kimbo said that local production of food is the best measure against inflation.
Yun ang pinakamagandang depensa sa pagtaas ng presyo. Kasi law of demand and supply lang naman po yan. Kapag napakababa ng supply, tataas ang presyo. Kaya anong solusyon? Magparami ng supply.
Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
The Department of Trade and Industry, or DTI, has released a price guide for holiday products. According to DTI Secretary Fred Pascual, the price guide serves as a basis to retailers and consumers when purchasing products such as ham, fruit cocktail, cheese, mayonnaise, creamer, pasta or spaghetti, among others. Secretary Pascual added that prices of holiday products will not increase next month. During the agency's Ikot Palengke run earlier in Marikina City, the city supermarkets have followed the released price guide. Meanwhile, the DTI shares consumers some shopping tips when they purchase food items this holiday season.
Siguro may mimilit na lang yung may bahay kung anong ma-afford niya. Meron naman choice eh. Kahit doon sa price guide na in-issue namin, price range ang binibigay eh. Yung merong nasa low end, merong nasa high end.
DTI recommends to look for alternatives to the products or brands to save. There are also bundle packs available in supermarkets. Aside from having all the necessary ingredients, it also is cost-effective.
And for our news abroad, the position of Malaysia's Prime Minister is still vacant as the decision now lies in the hands of the country's king, yet the king says he need more time to choose. Joselito Liquido tells us why live. Yes, Joselito?
Good evening, Pia. Al Sultan Abdullah, the reigning king of Malaysia, is still deciding on who will take the seat as Malaysia's next prime minister. After the country's national election was held last Saturday, yet no party won the majority in parliament. The two candidates for the positions are opposition leader Anwar Ibrahim and former Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin. The Pakatan Harapan or PH party led by Anwar won 82 seats, but 112 seats are needed to secure majority in parliament. On the other hand, its rival Perikatan Nasional or PN led by Muhyiddin won 73 seats. The two candidates Anwar and Muhyiddin met with the king on Tuesday, where the king urged them to form a unity government, but neither of them agreed. This will be the third time the king will have to choose a prime minister in the last 2 years, but will only be the first time in Malaysia's history right after an election, as previous national elections have always had winning political parties getting majority of the seats. Meanwhile, Malaysia's king has called for a special meeting with the country's Council of Rulers set on Thursday. The gathering is for the monarch to seek advice from other Malay rulers regarding the formation of the government. Kath?
Thank you, Joselito Liquido, reporting live from Malaysia. Elon Musk, the new CEO of Twitter, has been actively recruiting for engineering and sales roles after the recent mass layoff. Charis Longbowen extends why live. Yes, Charis?
Good evening, Cass. Following mass layoffs of over half the company's 7,500 employees and 5,000 contractors, as well as resignations, Twitter was reportedly left with around 2,700 employees. This comes after Elon Musk banned remote work and gave an ultimatum that employees must either work long hours at high intensity to stay or resign with a 3-month severance package. In a meeting, Elon Musk told his remaining employees that he plans to hire new engineers and salespeople for Twitter, with highest priority to those who are great at writing software. He also encouraged employees to make referrals. This news and Elon Musk's statement was originally reported and quoted by The Verge, an American technology news website. Under the ownership of Musk, he aims for Twitter to be much more engineering-driven, hence Twitter 2.0 flagged as an Elon company. Online commentaries from other technology news websites also say that Musk may need to quickly hire engineers after leaving multiple critical systems down to 2 or 0 engineers. Back to you, Cass.
Thank you, Charis Longbowen, reporting live from Japan. UK finally approves the administration of the RSV vaccine to protect children in winter. Paul Gatchalian will tell us why live. Paul?
Cats, single shot of nirsevimab can prevent babies from developing a deadly chest infection such as pneumonia from the respiratory syncytial virus or RSV as a new winter surge sweeps the country. RSV is a common virus which causes a cough or cold in older children and adults but can be fatal for children under 5 years old. Erica Radford, head of health advice at Asthma Plus Lung UK, states that in recent weeks, RSV cases are rising steadily along with the number of children under 5 being admitted to hospitals. Vaccine producers Sanofi and AstraZeneca will require more research if their vaccine can be offered to the NHS. 4 other RSV vaccines will be reviewed by the US FDA, with many more samples under testing. Dr. Simon Drisdale, infectious disease consultant pediatrician at St. George's Hospital in London, which co-leads the study, states that the vaccine can potentially be given at birth or during the baby's 2-month immunization. Kat?
Thank you, Paul Gatchalian, for that live report from New Zealand. We'll share more global stories with you later, but for now, back to you, William.
Yes, thank you, Kat. The Department of Social Welfare and Development urged the Philippine Coast Guard and other agencies to strengthen measures in seaports to halt indigenous people from traveling to Metro Manila. Janice Inhente tells us why.
To stop yearly begging of indigenous people in Metro Manila, The Department of Social Welfare and Development or DSWD is set to have talks with the Philippine Coast Guard, Department of the Interior and local government and other agencies to discuss the measure in seaport. According to Social Welfare and Development Secretary Erwin Tulfo, authorities are now identifying two groups that are said to be behind bringing of 300 indigenous people or IPs in Metro Manila to beg for alms on the streets. The ship IPs from Hulo were given ship tickets to travel to Metro Manila without any identity.
Meron darang dalawang grupo, yung financier na nagbibili ng ticket nila sa Hulo. Kasi makita namin yung mga ticket, nakalagay lang doon, agent, travel agent, ganda, or pogi. Sino bili ng ticket? Si pogi. Pag pinakita, yun nga, pogi lang.
In addition to identifying the group that smuggled IPs in Metro Manila, the authorities are now also investigating the owner of the place where they are temporarily residing in Tondo.
Hindi lang dahil sa bahagi sila ng trafficking, pwede silang makasunog ng trafficking, kundi nalalagay din sa alangan. Paano pag nagkasunog? Kita mo, 150 sila, akala mo mga nicho. Tapos shifting para sila sa city jail. Yung kalahati matutulog, kalahating mag-missing.
Tulfo also reported that there are still 100 IPs they have been searching in several areas of Metro Manila.
Sumulat na po ako sa DILG, sa Philippine Coast Guard, at sa BARM para pag-usapan ho namin. Coast Guard, abangan po yung barko, titignan. Si BARM nga humingi ng tulong sa amin na tulungan sila na makontrol. Gusto rin naman nila makontrol dahil nahihiya naman sila, nakababayan nila, tatakbo nila, namamalimos. Doon pa lang sa port of origin, aabangan na. Ma-identify naman ng Coast Guard yun.
Janice Enhente, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The country commemorates the 13th anniversary of the gruesome 2009 Magenta Now Massacre on Wednesday, November 23. In the University of the Philippines, the National Union of Journalists of the Philippines, or NUJP, together with the mass communication students of UP Diliman, conducted a short commemoration program. Their call is genuine justice for the 58 individuals, including 32 journalists, killed in the so-called deadliest single attack on media in Philippine history. They also want to include Reynaldo Momay in the list of those killed in the incident. Momay was excluded in the court's decision over the conviction of several accused because his body was not found.
Narito tayo ngayon para gunitain ang 58 pinaslang. Ika-58 ay si Reynaldo Momay na hindi isinama sa verdict ng korte noong Desyembre 2019. Sabi ng korte, si Momay daw ay hindi naman napatunayang namatay dahil walang bangkay na nakita dun sa massacre site. Pero lahat ng kasama niya ay nagpatunay na siya ay kasama sa convoy.
In other news, a labor group calls on the administration to prioritize wage increase of government employees to help them deal with the increasing prices of basic commodities. JP Nunez tells us why.
A labor group wants 33,000 pesos monthly minimum wage of government employees to help them deal with the effect of inflation. According to Public Services Labor Independent Confederation or PS-Link, the first-level salary grade employee already having trouble to provide their daily needs. This due to inflation rate which causes increase of prices of prime commodities.
Akala kasi ng iba mataas yung sahod sa pagdating pag nagtatrabaho ka sa gobyerno, pero yung SG1, yung salary grade 1 pa lang sa gobyerno ay nasa around 12,000. So yun ay para sa amin ay masyadong maliit, lalo na dahil sa sunod-sunod na pagtaas ng mga presyo ng bilihin, serbisyo.
The labor group said 33,000 pesos, ideal monthly minimum wage can be enough for a single family composed of 5 members. This is according to the data showed by Ibon Foundation, which suggests a family needs at least 1,133 pesos to suffice their daily needs. Aside from wage hike, the labor group also calls on regularization of government employees working under contract of service to provide them equal benefits.
Akala nila yung endo sa private sector lang yan, yung mga contractualization sa private sector. Sa totoo lang, ang pinakamalaking employer ng mga contractuals yung gobyerno.
In Congress Act, teachers also calls for wage hike of private and government employees. Its representative, Franz Castro, wants President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. to certify bills concerning wage hike as urgent. The Department of Labor and Employment earlier said that they instructed the Regional Tripartite Wages and Productivity Board to study the possible wage hike amidst the effect of inflation rate in the country. JP Nunez, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Commission on Appointments, or CA, has confirmed the appointments of 2 cabinet secretaries of the Marcos administration. First to face the panel was Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin, who vowed to avoid the repeat of confusion and miscommunication that happened in the sugar import order fiasco during the time of his predecessor, Vic Rodriguez. The CA also approved the appointment of Finance Secretary Benjamin Diokno. During his confirmation hearing, the finance chief said the country's public debt remains manageable and that the Philippines will not go into recession. On the other hand, the CA suspended the deliberation on the ad interim appointment of former NTC Commissioner Galamiel Cordoba as chairperson of the Commission on Audit, or COA, due to the lack of material time. This is also to accommodate more questions from members of the panel. Cordoba will once again face the CA panel next week.
Thousands of public sector workers in South Africa have taken part in a nationwide protest to pressure the government. Maven Dog will tell us why live. Maeve?
At the nationwide demonstration on Tuesday, known as the National Day of Action, came after negotiations between South African trade unions and the government fell through. The government is only offering a 3% pay hike in contrast to the union's demand of 10%. The 7 unions that rallied represented around 800,000 public servants. They released a joint statement last week saying that interest rate hikes and inflation have made cost of living more expensive for public workers, and that the government cannot stand unchallenged. The government has attempted to avert the strike by offering a 7.5% wage increase last week, but was dismissed by the unions, calling the offer misleading. The disagreement between the government and its employees is putting pressure on South African President Cyril Ramaphosa as he seeks to be re-elected by the African National Congress Party. Back to you, Kath.
Thank you, Maven Dog, for that report live from Australia. Due to COVID-19 and successive heat waves, France's health ministry registered a total of 10,420 excess deaths between June 1st and September 15. Data from the Public Health Agency showed that it was France's hottest summer since 1900s, with record temperatures reaching 40 degrees Celsius. 2,816 of those deaths took place during 3 episodes of heatwave alert, June 14 to 22, July 9 to 27, and July 29 to August 14. People aged 75 and above were the most affected, where 2,272 died out of the 2,816 deaths. 894 COVID-19 related deaths were also recorded in hospitals during the heatwave episodes, and Santé Publique France said that the high temperatures may have worsened the health of the COVID-19 patients. The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, or OECD, projects that the United Kingdom economy will suffer the most in the following year compared to the world's top leading economies due to the global energy crisis. Jovic Burmas will tell us why.
According to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, or OECD, among the G7 nations, the UK economy will suffer the most from the global energy crisis. It is estimated to shrink by 0.4% in 2023. In comparison to a wider group including G20 nations, only Russia, subject to economic sanctions, will fare worse than the UK at minus 5.6%, whilst Germany is projected for a 0.3% contraction. The OECD, an international organization that works to build better policies for better lives, lays the blame on the UK's poor performance on the energy price guarantee. Schemes on subsidizing energy bills resulted in estimated cost of £3.4 billion in October, which pushed government borrowing. The OECD comments better targeting of measures to cushion the impact of high energy prices would lower the budgetary cost, better preserve incentives to save energy, and reduce the pressure on demand at a time of high inflation. Meanwhile, the UK's Office for Budget Responsibility, or OBR, predicted last week that the UK would shrink by 1.4% next year, which will lead to the biggest drop in UK living standards on record. Jovic Burmas, UNTV News and Rescue, United Kingdom. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
And those are the reasons behind the news in other parts of the globe. I'm Kat Maraos, live from Bangkok, Thailand. Good evening.
Lawmakers push for persons with disability or PWD cards with lifetime validity. In line with this, several PWD groups call for an easier renewal process. Eileen Cerudo will tell us why.
It has always been a challenge for persons with disabilities or PWDs to renew their identification cards. Documents such as COMELEC certification, medical, or disability certificate are always required for the renewal process.
Sa katulad ko pong naka-wheelchair o wheelchair user, sabi nga namin permanent na po ito eh. Tapos, kailangan pagpupunta ako, may kasama pa ako, meron pa akong personal assistant, which kailangan kong bayaran. Yung pong effect nun sa aming finances, napakalaki.
The House Committee on Persons with Disabilities is consolidating bills seeking for a lifetime validity of PWD IDs. Lawmakers say the bill aims to lessen the burden of ID renewals, especially for individuals with permanent disability. Several PWD groups support the filed bill. However, strict monitoring should be implemented. Other groups recommended a 5 or 10-year renewal.
Sumasang-ayon po ako na magkaroon ng validation every 5 years just to validate kung buhay pa po kami. Kung ako po ba ay lumipat na ng bahay. Kung ako po ba ay nag-asawa ako.
According to the group, the said renewal would lessen cases of individuals abusing the use of PWD IDs for discounts and other benefits. There are also reports of fake PWD IDs.
Prone to abuse din po siya kasi actually right now, I heard the story na meron daw pong pumunta sa isang restaurant, Mr. Chairman, na maraming grupo. Then lahat po sila meron pong PWD ID. Then nung chinek po ng may-ari ng restaurant dahil nagulat po siya, na-validate po dun sa LGU na hindi po totoo or fake po yung kanila pong PWD ID.
The House Committee will form a technical working group to discuss the filed bill further and to shed more light to the issues and problems of our fellow PWDs in the country. Eileen Cerudo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has raised the need to upskill and reskill the seafarers to address the scheduled shift of ocean-going vessels to green hydrogen as fuel source from 2030 to 2040 during his meeting with officials of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, or DENR, in Malacanang Palace on Tuesday, November 23. The president stressed the need for additional training to equip seafarers on proper handling of alternative fuels to meet global decarbonization objectives. He also mentioned the need for the seafaring industry to create habits to contribute to the carbon emission reduction efforts. This assertion also comes after DENR officials attended the climate change talks at the 27th Conference of the Parties of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, or COP27, held in Egypt from November 8 to 18. President Marcos Jr. cited the country had prioritized renewable energy options such as hydropower, geothermal power, solar power, and other low-emission energy sources during the 29th Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation, or APEC Summit in Bangkok, Thailand last week. Our kasangbahay, as the world faces these trying times amid the pandemic caused by coronavirus, we are inviting everyone to join the global prayer for humanity.
Good day. I'm Brother Eli Soriano of the members of the Church of God International. I want to invite you to join us in a minute of prayer every day to pray for humanity and the whole world as we go through these perilous times. While safety measures like washing of hands and strengthening of our immune systems may help us through this horrible predicament, there is still no precaution or cure more powerful than God's mighty intervention. And we need His intervention now more than ever. It doesn't matter what religion you are in or what denomination you belong. This is an invitation for all the people around the world who cares for the future of their family, friends, loved ones, and humanity as a whole. Everybody is welcome to pray with us. For more details, you can check out the description box below. Thank you very much, and I hope to hear from you soon. May God bless you.
And before we close, we will leave you with a word, giving glory to God from the book of Proverbs, chapter 29, verse 6. It says, "In the transgression of an evil man there is a snare, but the righteous doeth sing and rejoice." And those are the reasons behind the news, November 23, 2022. Reasons we deliver to you as they unfold. And because we need to know, we will always ask why. I am William Theo. We serve the people. We give glory to God.